I love the Rick Dom. Ever since this moment...
There's no sign of the Gundam, sir.
Whose Rick Dom is that?
He says he hasn't seen the Gundam.
From the Encounters in Space video game, as well as the Destroyer Dom from SD Gundam, I have loved the Rick Dom. One of my favorite mobile suits. Probably my third favorite mobile suit. And I'm very pleased to have finally gotten the high-grade kits of the Rick Dom 2. Those kits have been very difficult to track down. Even when I started collecting, for whatever reason, they've just been so unobtainable, especially the green one. But I've finally gotten them. Even though I've yet to get Annabelle Gatto's Rick Dom, as well as the Black TriStar Dom 3-pack, I want to get those eventually. I'm pretty happy with where my Rick Dom collection is right now. Now, yes, not all of these are Rick Doms, because the difference between Dom and Rick Doms is that the Rick somehow equals it can be in space now. There's not too big of a difference between Doms and Rick Doms, so I normally just call them all Rick Doms, even though the main denomination is Doms. So what do we have here? So here we have the normal Dom Tropen, or Tropen, I can never remember, the sand version of the same suit. We have the Dom test type back here from Gundam The Origin. We have the Dom R35 from Build Fighters, I believe. He's one of my favorites. We have Char's Rick Dom, the standard Rick Dom, which, fun fact, was my very first Gunpla I ever built. And then we have the Rick Dom 2 Colony Color, aka a Rick Dom walked into a factory on Zaku Painting Day. And we have the Rick Dom 2. I love the Rick Dom so much. So let's just get into it. Let's start in the order that the kits were kind of produced. Let's start with the Dom Tropen here. I normally just call it the Dom Tropen. So this is the oldest of all the kits, because when HGUC started, they were really heavy into Stardust memory, and this is where the kit originates. So this is the only kit here that does not have a clear piece over the visor, and it definitely hurts the look. I definitely miss that clear piece over the mono eye, because it just looks... I mean, look at how it looks on the Char. Like, even though it's a high grade, it just adds such a big level of detail to it. So, I love the added red on the shoulders of the Dom Tropen. I just think it looks really cool. Basically, this Dom is, like, heavy duty. This is meant for ground combat. You can tell because it's got, like, extra, fuel tank thrusters on the feet. These things are gliding around in Stardust memory like nobody's business. They're really cool kits despite their age. Like, the articulation's actually pretty decent, even though it does suffer from old HG shoulders just lay on top syndrome, where if you move it around a little too much, those shoulder pads are coming right off. But still, it's really cool. The bazooka's so big, it's like shadowing his face. Yeah, he's got this super huge bazooka. I really love the look of it. And it does have a heat saber right there, which is uncolored. It's not activated, I guess. But still, it's a really cool kit. It's just very, kind of awkward for how old it is. I mean, you can have individual skirts in the front, which is nice, and you can move them kind of out of the way to sort of get the knees bending just a little bit. I mean, it's a Rick Dom, or it's a Dom, I should say. It's not going to be moved around too much. But still, I love the big old feet. It is kind of creaky. You can hear it's definitely an older kit. You press on it and you move some of the joints, and it's going to have a little bit of a creak to it. But I really do like it. It's definitely, I love them all. It's probably one of my least favorites, but I still really enjoy it. I personally prefer it in this sand color. I just think this is really cool. I love it when Zeon suits have different colors for different environments. And I really want more desert suits in my collection. You can see this one has a lot more weaponry. He's got a machine gun. He's got even more ammo. He's got ammo for the machine gun in the front. It's really cool. I really love the look. It's exactly the same kit, just different colors and some added weaponry. This guy also did appear in Unicorn, and he actually had a really cool moment in Unicorn when he was tossing some grenades. It's so cool that a kit this old still kind of holds up. I just wish that it had the clear in front of the visor. I think it's one of the only things holding it back. Despite that, though, I think it's a really awesome version of the Dom. Next up, surprisingly, before we even got the normal Rick Dom, we got the Rick Dom 2. And what can I say, man? I think the Rick Dom 2 is a really badass upgrade from the Rick Dom. I love the tubes on the head. Kind of reminds me of like a bit of a Zaku element into it. The Dom Tropen had it too, but I just feel like the shapes and the angles on the Rick Dom 2 just make it look more menacing and obvious that it's got these Zaku-like tubes on the head. It's just so cool. It does have the little circles on them again. I forget what they are. I think they're like maybe Minovsky particle emitters, I think. I'm not sure. It's really, really nice looking, man. And again, it's an older kit, but this one does have the clear in front of the visor, which really, in my opinion, adds a lot to the look. It doesn't have a moving mono eye, but the mono eye still looks really good in there. Some of these old and smooth kits are absolute dust magnets, so forgive me if there's some dust on them. Yeah, I love the look of the Rick Dom. Especially the Rick Dom 2. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Rick Dom 2, and one thing when I started collecting Gunpla, I was like, I don't really need the Rick Dom 2. I don't really have an attachment to that one. But now that I'm well over 200 kits in, and I was just thinking, man, why don't I have the Rick Dom 2? Oh yeah, because they hadn't reprinted it in forever. But they finally did, and I'm so happy, because I love this kit. It's so nice. The articulation's pretty decent too. He's pretty poseable. I feel like the legs are more poseable this time around. And the feet, you get a little bit more range just because of the design. You have an armor panel that moves out of the way too. This one's definitely a favorite, but it's one of my absolute favorites when you paint it up like a Zaku. This was my Gunpla holy grail for the longest time. I don't believe this one has yet to see a reprint. I believe it was just the normal Rick Dom 2. This is the kind of thing that would be P Bandai nowadays, but awesomely back in the day, they would just give you recolors in the main line. And this is one of my favorite recolors. I love it because it's a Rick Dom essentially in Zaku colors. This guy looks so cool next to Zaku's. I love it so much. Because, I mean, I love the Rick Dom. It's my number 2. Well, it's kind of my number 3, because my number 1 is tied between the Gyaradoga and the Zaku. Anyways, you get the point. Even though the Rick Dom is the runner-up, my favorite's the Zaku, so having a Rick Dom that really matches Zaku's is super cool to me. And I love the colors, and I think the angles of the suit really complement these colors as well. It's just so cool looking. Both versions, both colors do come with the same weapons loadouts, but I decided to alternate them, so the normal Rick Dom 2 has the bazooka, and this one has the machine gun, as well as a Stormfaust that he can just, which is really cool. It's such a cool robot, man. I love it. It's so neat, even though it barely appeared in War in the Pocket. I forgot its name for a second. Even though it barely appeared, it is one of my favorite versions of the Rick Dom, and it's definitely up there among one of my favorite mobile suits. So here it is, the one that started it all, both when it comes to Rick Doms, as well as the one that started my Gunpla addiction. I love this kit so much. The good old classic Rick Dom. I don't know how much I've really talked about this thing on camera, but let me just say, even though it is an older kit, I believe it was dated back 2006, if I'm not mistaken, I still think it really holds up. I would love to see an upgrade. I'd love to see a revive, just because it would be an excuse to get a new Rick Dom. Even though I'd love to see that, this one's still really nice. I love this open hand. I just think it's a classic Rick Dom pose, having the hand open down there. Unfortunately, it does have a big critical issue where the hand does not stay together enough to hold the bazooka worth a shit. So, basically, I've had to take a rubber band and use it to like tie the hand together, because I don't want to glue the hand. I don't want to glue it, so I'd rather use a rubber band. And that one's probably about to dry rot. The one on my Char Zaku dry rotted, so I replaced it with a black rubber band that hopefully won't dry rot as quickly. Man, this is such a cool kit. And one really awesome feature that this one implemented was a moving mono eye. So you can remove the mask, and you can actually move the mono eye. And I just think this is such a cool feature. And then you replace the mask, and now the mono eye is in a completely different position. When I built this kit, when I got it, geez, how many years ago? Not 10 years ago. Maybe like 7? Yeah, 7 or 8 years ago is when I built this. I think I built it in 2014. When I got this kit, I was so blown away by the moving eye. And nowadays, I've just gotten so many more kits afterward. And I mean, I never thought like this Rick Dom would start this massive collection. I mean, look at all these other just Rick Doms I have. This is a really nice kit. But when you make it into the colors of my favorite character, again, I'm gonna eat it up. This is really cool. This kit is also available in the Annabelle Gato colors, but currently I just have it as the normal Rick Dom in Char. Again, the exact same kit, but now he's got the salmon red, which is really nice. The knee joints on this kit, I forgot how nice they were. It is kind of ugly with the gate marks on this one since it is an older kit. They didn't really design them too well. But you can see it's got better ankles, better knees. The skirting gets out of the way more. I just think it has the critical error of not being able to hold the weapons worth a damn. I love this huge bazooka, too. It comes with this massive bazooka. I like having Char with the big one and the normal one with the more standard bazooka. Ah, dude, I love it. Next up, then, is another favorite of mine. This is the only one not based in the Universal Century. Even though there is the Dom Trooper that I've yet to get, this is the Dom R35 from Build Fighters. This thing's so freaking cool. So this kit is based off of the high-grade Rick Dom, but he has got a lot of extra stuff going on. So his articulation's vastly improved. He's got some double joints on the go now. He still retains the gimmick where he can remove the faceplate and move the eye, which I think is super cool. I just love the two-tone blue. I'm such a sucker for two-tone blue, and I think this kit pulls it off so well. It looks so good. He also has these cool little, like, claws, where I guess he can, like, grab onto things with his knees. I've never seen Build Fighters. I'm not really interested, but I just think this kit is really cool. I know those move up. I'm just not going to worry about it. So, yeah, he retains a lot of the same nice engineering, but he does have some quirks. I totally forgot about this one, the leg. It's one of those that kind of slots in, so it wants to actually come apart before it wants to move sometimes. So that's unfortunate. But you know what, man? Gunpla's evolved so much since then. I can kind of forgive it. It's an old kit. It has some weird technology and some weird quirks to it. I love the shields. Even though the light blue on the shields are all this one big ugly sticker that likes to come up on the corners after a while. I love how the shield can, like, fan out, and then how it can, like, condense into, like, a pounder. I just think it's so cool. Another thing, too, he's got this cool backpack, where obviously he's got these really nice big thrusters, but he also has these thrusters that can articulate, so it could probably, like, move him in even more directions. So if he needs to move down really fast, the thrusters can articulate. I just think that's a really cool little feature. I love Build Fighters for having these unique little add-ons. He's got even more thrusters on the back of his legs. It's such a cool design. Definitely one of my favorites. One of the things I hate the most about Build Fighters is that they come out with badass designs like this, and it's not something actually in canon to the Universal Century. Like, imagine if this was like Ramba Rawl's Rick Dom, and he just had this super crazy, like, badass Rick Dom. Unfortunately, Ramba Rawl did not survive long enough to make something this cool. But hey, it exists in Gunpla, and I love it. And last and not least, Gundam The Origin is my favorite model kit line from Bandai, and the Dom test type here is no exception. The articulation, the innovation, the posability, these things are so great. I mean, look at the R35. I just tried bending the knee and the leg came off, but look at this one. Have you seen a Rick Dom with that much knee articulation so far in this video? You have not. This articulation's crazy. It's so fluid, it moves around so well. Double elbows. One thing I love about the Dom test type is how similar it looks to the Zaku in the head design. I'd say it's kind of more similar to the Goof, though, because it has more of a down snout and some larger tubes. But I just love that, you know, similarity, how, like, they're designing it, and they're like, you know, this worked with the Goof, maybe it'll work for this, and then they're like, no, we don't need the tubes, and then they're like, yeah, we should bring the tubes back. I just love that, you know, lineage of the design work. And I do love as well how this kit shares similar design features to the high mobility Zaku. I just think it's so cool how they, for the high mobility Zaku, were like, yeah, let's just take the lower half of our Rick Dom prototype and throw it on a Zaku. I thought about putting that one in the list, but it's not really a Rick Dom. Love this kit. I like him just with the saber, because I don't have any others with the heat saber, and he's just the most dynamic, so I like posing him around in, like, sword fighting poses. He is, when it comes to being a high quality kit, this is definitely the best one on the list. But it's really hard for me to pick a favorite. It's so hard. It's easier for me to pinpoint the ones that have the potential to not be my favorite. The Dom Tropens. They're cool, but they're the first of this collection. They are not nearly as well produced or well designed as some of the others. The R35's a really cool kit, but he does have some design quirks. Like, I mean, that leg just came right off. But he looks stunning. I would say my favorite even though this one was my first and he's the most sentimental, I think I gotta give it to the Rickdom 2 Colony color. I was just so happy to finally get this Rickdom in Zaku colors, and it is such a cool kit for me. And what can I say, man? It's a Rickdom, but he's a Zaku. I love the look of it. Alrighty guys, I think I've rambled on long enough. Thank you all so much for watching. I don't post a lot of Gundam content, but every once in a while I need to, because I love Gundam and I just love sharing the passion of Gundam. Let me know if you guys have any ideas, because I don't really like reviewing Gundam kits. There's plenty of channels that do a great job of reviewing. I just like sharing my collection, because who else is going to show a variety of HGUC Rickdoms on camera? No one but me, probably. Alrighty, guys, there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Special shout out to the patrons at Patreon. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Alrighty, guys, there we go. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.